Hello, SpeedGaming. Welcome to an exciting Game 3 of Super Mario World. Wait, no. Strike that, even if Mario's floating. This is the Link to the Past randomizer tournament. We are in the third round, the round of 16. This is going to be a great race between Maniacal and TwoC, who are so evenly matched that the first two races were decided each by considerably less than a minute, so I'm expecting nothing less for this one. Anyway, I'm Drosy, here with the incomparable and amazing Will WC. How are you this fine evening?
Doing great. Looking forward to this race. Looking forward to hopefully another close one between these two, and looking forward to finding out who our first runner officially booking their spot into the final 8 is going to be.
Right. This was the first matchup in the round of 16 to get underway, so it will also be the first to conclude.
Yeah, I think TwoC's been speedrunning this tournament in more than one sense, but
yeah, well, I mean, he hadn't taken any losses in the entire tournament until game 1 of this series. And we are underway on one side.
Yeah, 300 rupees there is nice in Link's house, and of course, looks like we're gonna take the boots that we start with and go straight to Sahasrara here.
Yeah, popular opening.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people doing this.
This and Sancta Bonk Rock seem to be the two main openings that people use.
Yeah. We'll see if TwoC chooses to go into Eastern Palace. A few people have. It's kind of a little bit less popular. We have a green pendant pod today.
Which means there's got to be progression in it, right?
Some people swear by it. Some people swear that it is never the place. But with a sword in hand that we find there, as well as a Turtle Rock Small, looks like that's going to lead TwoC to go ahead and make the trip to the dungeon there.
Why not? Sword does make a lot of stuff easier, especially with boots. You can actually, hit enemies when you dash into them.
Yeah, it does make the not that the dark rooms, other than the one on going to the back of the dungeon, are terribly difficult in Eastern, even without a sword. But it does make those a little bit comfier, and yeah, like you said, you can just dash straight through them instead of having to feel your way around.
So Maniacal's now doing the other conventional start that we see in this mode.
And he'll work his way past Bonkrox here, probably check Lost Woods into town. We'll see if he gives us a lumberjack check here. Of course, we know this is all dungeons, so we will have to complete Castle Tower at some point, whether we end up having to do it early for an item or for Dark World access, or whether we end up on a hunt for second CT small key. Either way, it's going to play some kind of role in this, so, checking lumberjack makes sense.
You mean runners have been known to go on hunts for CT small keys?
It is something of a tradition with this mode, I would say.
I thought the game just served them up for free.
Every once in a while you get lucky, but some of the other times it likes to, have a little he and a haw, as some would say.
Ooh, TwoC has a very nice rupee count.
Maniacal a bit short.
Either way, we're well on our way to Zora money already in the first 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, the starting 300 there didn't hurt. Got 2 checks left in Eastern here as Maniacal makes his way into Kakariko Village. Some more money. Maniacal gonna farm up a couple of bombs here.
Yeah, that's one nice thing about the boot start. You have guaranteed bombs under those rocks.
Yeah, so you can make sure you have at least one, preferably 2, so you can check both Blind's Hut and the well guaranteed. Then at that point, if you need more bombs, you can hit the shot pretty easily on your way to Chicken Hut. Yeah, we're going to see 5 items here in Blind's Hut. Love to start.
That's our second TR small already.
Heart Piece and Teneros and the other 2. first shield there in the back.
And Eastern was a pod small and a whole lot of money.
Yep. 2C, like you said, almost at Zora money now. Looks like he's gonna head up to Uncle and escape here with that sword. So, gonna try and put off the Kakariko play a little bit longer.
Maybe he can find a bottle to turn into Sick Kid by the time he gets here.
Right. If you find a bottle or a flute, you save a trip here, and that's worth something. And at this point, you've already dipped a dungeon, so you're pretty unlikely to find like a bow and Eastern Big in the opening here, but it does happen from time to time. There's a big key to Ice Palace there in the Uncle chest, and we get a GT small from the bottle merchant.
And Uncle himself handed us our second pod small, so we're now at 2 pod smalls and 2 TR smalls, and of course, nowhere near Dark World access for actually visiting either of those dungeons.
Right. I mean, you can't you can't draw too much from the first small keys you see in the sea, and you can't say, oh, well, I got 2 Turtle Rock small keys to start, and then there must mean I need to go to Turtle Rock as soon as possible. You have to still kind of balance that out with trying to, kind of when you do things, like how you try to get as many keys as you can for a dungeon, or, put it off until it's the right time. And those sorts of decisions can make or break races, really.
I'm wondering with all this money if we're going to see an early Zora play by either runner.
Very well could. I remember 2C, this is a few tournaments ago that I was racing against him, but I noted that sometimes he would open, which was in another boot start mode, with setting up a water walk in the Lost Woods and taking that whirlpool in the northwest part of the world down to the Zora area. So that is something he could do here, having the 500 rupees already farmed up.
And unknown to him, but known to Maniacal, Zora's even in logic with the glove.
Yep, that is true.
Of course, the rupee count has no bearing on Zora logic. The game just assumes you'll get rupees one way or another if you want to do Zora.
Yep. So with that glove, Maniacal going to show us 3 checks in the back here, as we see a Misery Mire Small in Zelda's cell.
So we'll soon have full knowledge of escape. I assume 2C's going to do Dark Cross with that Death Warp.
Yep. No progression items there in the back.
But you're not going to turn down a bit of health.
No, especially you're never gonna be too sad about your first heart container of a seed.
Interesting. The runners are converging on escape now.
Yeah, I guess that early sword motivated them, and I think especially in Maniacal's shoes, he wants to, maybe guarantee that he has a little bit more money before he goes, say, south, and potentially has to make a decision on Zora at the end of his route there.
Dark Cross is very important. Swamp Small, again, not going to be there anytime soon, but we do need it.
That is definitely one of our required keys. Not all of the big keys are, not all of the small keys are, but we're sure gonna need most of them to complete our dungeons today.
And I believe Swamp Small is the only hard required small key, because any other dungeon with small keys that we need, we don't need all of them, so you could skip any given one.
Yeah, I mean, you still need, say 3 out of 4 TR smalls to get through, and some other ones, but that's the only one that just, for a dungeon, that you absolutely cannot skip. At least with TR, there's workarounds, and pod, of course, you can.
And I mean, maybe there's something on Right Side Desert, so the Desert Small is hard required, but we don't know that.
Right. Yeah, that definitely applies to a lot of different checks, like Hair Basement is, of course, locked behind that small key, And then we have kind of, the individual big chests, like Ice Palace, Swamp, Skull. So those are always kind of little fetch quests to themselves there. Again, you kind of hope you have those, like the Thieves' Town Small, all before you end up having to actually clear those dungeons.
Yeah, the more dungeons you can single dip, the better.
Yeah, it looks like TwoC is setting up that this water walk here. So gonna dash across the edge of the pit there, and then to arm the water walk, and then come over here and step down into the little pond.
Really is interesting that he's putting this ahead of much more item-dense locations like Kakariko and Mini Moldorm Cave.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, especially with this being AD, he's kind of playing the long game here a little bit. Took a couple hits there.
Yeah, a long game if
you're,
he doesn't get himself killed.
Right. You're kind of playing the long game, though. You're not expecting to be, full clearing dungeons early, so kind of the order that you do things in, like, if he can do things efficiently, maybe he can, well, I think what he's really hoping for is that he can kind of clear out all the other item density that's in the light world, finish up in Kakariko, and then just go straight into the dark world from there. So, assuming that we find, say, Pearl and Hammer down at Mini Moldorm Cave or something like that, that would give him, just a quicker, like a more efficient route through the light world there by delaying Kakariko. Of course, there are also times where that burns you, so that's the kind of the risk he's taking there.
Yeah, and we can't check Hobo right now because without the Moon Pearl, we need the Water Walk for doing Waterfall Cave.
Maniacal gonna set up a Houlihan here to get his Zora money before he goes south, so that does seem like that was on his mind a little bit at least.
Goodbye forever, Bloomerang. We hardly knew ye.
I don't think we're getting those, even if we do get the flippers here off Zora. Well, 60% refund. You'll take the rebate, I guess.
Well, at least now we don't have to worry about pod money.
That is true.
So now we're going to converge on South Shore checks, it looks like.
Yep. So 2C, I think, is going to go right to left here, having already done all the Ice Rod Cave Zora stuff. He's going to just work Mini Moldorm down to Agina. So they'll crisscross each other's paths here. Thing for Maniacal to note here is that he got a really unfortunate bush guard while he was trying to set up his Houlihan earlier. Okay, so he is going to Agina here as well. I was going to say, if he's trying to get over to Zora, he cannot take a hit from anything, anywhere.
And this is going to work out well for 2C because the book will get him into Desert so he can finish his routing in Desert.
Yeah, so that'll give him 2 checks in Desert plus the Desert Ledge item, which we just saw from Maniacal.
Was the boots.
Yeah. Yeah, don't think we need to pick those up. We already have fully real boots on our feet. Oh, there's mitts in Agina, so that's gonna...
Early, wow.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't leave a lot of places left for us to go in Logic right now. We've got... That only opens up King's Tomb, I think. And then we've got the stuff inside a desert that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, it does make it likely that that book is pointing us into Desert.
Yeah, so if that's the case, this is going to work out really nicely for 2C. But I think Maniacal's going to get over to King's Tomb, so if it's that... Well, he's not going to do it right now, but I think he'll get over there first. At least.
You never know. I mean, he's going to do Mini Moldorm now. I guess 2C will be in Desert for a bit.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about Maniacal coming back south here and finishing up the other side of the South Shore.
Yeah, South Shore is nice. We found the GT Big, which is often something runners have to go hunting for, so always nice to get that out of the way.
Who knows? Maybe we'll even get the dream 0 out of 27 GT today, but usually we end up in there looking for something, whether it's a pendant item or a CT small or something else.
That bonk Maniacal did in Mini Moldorm Cave is not something you often see.
No, I mean, you I think ideally don't want to end up in the top left corner unless you've got boots and can do it, but...
He wants his bombs.
Yes. Alright, so 2 checks available to us, the map chest and the torch item here through 2C. Another 300 there.
Yeah, we really don't need money this seed.
And a mushroom. Okay, well...
definitely want to turn that in.
Yeah.
And... Oh, did TwoC not do Agena?
He did. He just got his first cut from Agena because he hasn't gone to Kakariko yet.
Oh, right. The other one was in CAC. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you have to turn in that mushroom because we're really running out of checks, and are you really going to try to hold on for fake powder?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see just how committed 2C is to the CAC give if he does, mushroom before before CAC. It's like looks like from a Link's House starting spot. I think that's the only place he could be going, though.
With the mushroom even armed to make it really obvious what his next play is.
Yeah.
That statue's nice to bonk off of to line up the fake flipper there.
Yeah. If you play enough cross keys and do that, especially if you do that as your opener, you get the muscle memory down for doing it without the bonk, but it is nice to have that set up.
Well, here, I mean, are these basically the last 2 things we have in Logic? Mushroom and King's Tomb?
Yeah, I think so. So, big key to Desert Palace. Oh,
boy.
So some kind of progression is in Desert, whether it's a lamp to get us up the mountain, or a flute, or it's a moon pearl, or God forbid, hopefully not another big key to Eastern or a castle tower small or something like that. Although we don't have a way in there yet.
That's unfortunate, though. It is a mandatory desert double dip, and since Maniacal's already been to the desert area once, he's going to be there 3 times.
A mandatory double dip with no flute anywhere in sight.
At least we have those boots.
At least we have boots, yes.
But yeah, I think this qualifies as a wild goose chase.
Yeah, this is, again, this is one of those things where it's going to come down to kind of efficiency on your route in terms of, because you're not going back for that Desert Big until it's your last option after, I think, for both runners probably in this. So Maniacal's going to go do Eastern Palace before going back for 1 chest at a desert he's already dipped, I would expect. And TwoC, I think that's going to be his only thing left in Logic after he cleans out the village here.
Yeah, if Maniacal somehow keeps himself out of Eastern, that would work in his favor. But otherwise, I think TwoC's been a bit more efficient with his route.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah, Maniacal is going to go turn that mushroom in immediately. It's just, like I said, that kind of psychology of, well, I just was in Desert, and I don't want to go back just for the one thing, because I don't even have fire to finish off the back here, so it's just that chest. So that's going to be something you really would want to put off, I think. And then again, there is the option of, what if he goes up the mountain? Like, if it's just the lamp that's in DP big, then you could save a whole lot of time on the second trip back there, right?
Oh, for sure.
2C finally getting his mitts now. And yeah, looks like Maniacal's heading over to Eastern Palace here, so gonna go for the 4 checks instead of the 1.
Too bad we don't have the big key, because the bow makes it so tempting.
Yeah. TwoC gonna get Bonk Rocks here, and then he's gonna have, I think at that point he'll have the knowledge that something's in Desert Big.
Yeah, kind of run out of location. I mean, he could go up the mountain if he wanted for 2 items.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, I think it's probably a little too far from King's Tomb there, but, it's not a terrible play to get up there. You can go ahead and get your save and quit point if you want to, but you really don't, with no mirror, no hook shot, you don't have many of the items up there. You're really just getting Old Man and Speck Rock Cave.
Right, and scouting on top of Speck Rock.
Yeah. And given the chances that this is just your Moon Pearl over here, I think this is the right play.
Yeah, though as you said, it could be the lamp, which then does send us up Death Mountain to do those 2 checks.
It could be piecemealing us back into another fetch quest from the mountain, back in the main overworld.
Could be Eastern Big.
Yeah.
Honestly, if it's the lamp, I think you do Landmo while you're here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, even with you got an ice rod, you can get at least a little. You can farm up enough magic to make it useful, and then honestly, bombs and fighter sword will get you through. But it is our Moon Pearl here in Desert Big Chest, so 2C probably gonna start at Sanctuary, head in from Kakariko Village through the portal there, and get started in the Dark World.
Yeah, so as long as this seed stays linear, he's got a solid 2-3 minutes on Maniacal, because Maniacal still needs to turn in the mushroom.
I think he did. He did.
Oh,
turn
did
it
he?
in.
Oh, okay, right. He does have the Desert Big on his tracker. Never mind. Okay, so he's got a 1 to 2 minute lead on Maniacal, because Maniacal still needs to run back to Desert.
Right. But yeah, that play of combining Lost Woods, I think, with the Zora area checks, because of how he had routed everything else, worked out in his favor. And then, of course, just having the book over there when he checked Agina, that's where I think where most of the time came from.
Ooh, nice hammer.
So, yeah, nice immediate hammer there in the chess game. So won't have a long hunt for that.
Yeah, so that immediately gives us the other portals available.
Yeah, and so we'll see whether 2C decides to just kind of route north from here, given that he's clearing out the village first. I wouldn't be real surprised. Clear north into Skull Woods, and then maybe save quit and go to Hype Cave from the south.
Yeah, presumably Front 4 of Thieves are his next. No, he opened Thieves.
Yeah, he's gonna do
Hammer
Pegs
Pegs
first.
Huh.
And so, you're talking about linearity, but the question is going to be kind of Maniacal's going to have that same decision coming into Dark World here. Do I start in Village and then work south, or do I start in Village and work north, or do I start in, Skull Woods and work south? So,
yeah, I guess
again, kind of the order that you find certain items. Say if there's a Thieves Big in Skull Woods somewhere, then Maniacal's going to get there first. So it's one of those things that can kind of make things up, just kind of like the book did earlier.
Right, 5 checks available in Skull Woods. TwoC is not having that map.
Yeah, maps have very little to no value in this mode. We already know we're clearing everything. You can get information on it does help to know what your pendants are when you're kind of thinking about go mode and what can be in GT versus what has to be outside of it.
Oh. 2C not touching the front four of Thieves. He's grabbing the Smiths and continuing.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that. It looks like he's going to take it down to Stumpy here and then over to Hype Cave. See if he does the full world tour here, picking up Pyramid Catfish. No, he's going to cut it off at Stumpy. But yeah, not even dipping the front four of Thieves. I mean, it's not a non-trivial time commitment to take a Death Warp, but you've only got 4 hearts of health, and even with Blue Mail, it doesn't take that long to set up. So, again, trying to kind of, you saw that with his CAC play. He's going to try and put things off that can be, potentially done in one go versus 2.
Yeah. So we do have a bit of divergence here. The Smiths give us the Hour of Destiny.
Yeah, they looked like they were working on something a lot meatier than that arrow in the back there, but I guess they only give the swords to their favorite customers or something.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, sorry, this wasn't for you. You thought we were giving you that? Oh, Thieves Small in Thieves.
Well, that is nice. So now whenever we find the Thieves Big, then we have a fully clearable Thieves Town. But...
And looks like Maniacal is running out of here.
Yeah, I think he feels at 7 hearts and with boots that this is maybe just faster than taking, or I guess 6 hearts, sorry. Again, they have Blue Mail, so faster than taking 6 hits from that Zizak that's wandering around.
And he is going directly to Dig Game. I feel like since he's running straight down here, he's probably gonna take the Smith on a world tour at least as far as Hype Cave.
I would think so as well, but we'll see. I mean, he could do the same thing that 2C just did. We don't know yet exactly how far he'll take his route.
I mean, maybe Hype Cave has the mirror, and then you've just saved yourself quite a bit of time.
True. Oh, finally, some money.
Haven't seen nearly enough of that this seed.
Maniacal did opt to pick up that map, though, which we saw was a Misery Mire map. So, if it does come down to needing to know, Pendant Crystal information, we'll at least have that, or he'll at least have that kind of going in, or at least once he gets in the dungeon, for sure. Yeah, Maniacal is going to continue on at least through Hype Cave here. We'll see if he does, like I said, the full world tour.
There's our 3rd TR small. At this rate, we can full clear the dungeon once we can get into it.
Yeah. Or at least 11 out of 12, and if we find all of the other requisite items for it, which we're still at least lacking a medallion and a way up the mountain, and...
Samaria and Fire Rod.
Yeah, so we're still a few prereqs away.
There's a medallion.
Yeah, we got our ether, and there's our lamp, and a hook shot, so got a couple of those checked off.
So now Mountain starts looking appealing.
Oh yeah. Now we're gonna see. I think the Maniacal is heading straight there after Smith at least.
Yeah, gotta ditch the Smith.
Yes.
Did 2C find anything of use in Skullwoods? I mean, it looked like maybe a stray key or something, but...
Not that I saw, other than I don't think there was anything of real major value there, no.
Ah, 2C inquiring of our 5-6 crystals. Thieves and TR, which it looks like the game is trying to lead us towards there a bit.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of the requisites, but we're still a big key, a couple big keys away, as well as all the other things that we just listed for TR. So, file it away, but I think don't overstate it too much. It's still one of those things that's pretty slow unless you can, if you're lucky, you can maybe knock out Aga and do it with a mirror and kind of save a little time there if you have to do it. But that's one of the ones that you hope you'll be able to skip at some point in this run.
Oh, and TwoC is giving us a catfish check.
Yeah, I mean, I guess with them already having done the Zora area checks, there's never going to be a time it's more efficient than this. So.
Yeah, I'm just surprised because with their playstyles to this point, Maniacal seems like the more likely to be thorough like this. TwoC, I would have more expected to skip catfish.
I can see that.
But hey, if Maniacal never goes to catfish, that'll save him time after the
just compass and arrows
prize
out of the pyramid catfish extension to that route. Meanwhile, Maniacal heading for the very item-dense Paradox Cave here. Of course, we've got a lot of mountain to do. No mirror, so we're going to probably clear out Paradox, Hera, get Ether Tablet checked, and then we'll see if, Spiral Cave something you can skip if you're feeling a little bold, but... There's another pod small.
Yeah, that's our third pod. Yeah, Maniacal already had the same two pod keys that TwoC had, right? Because they both cleared out everything in logic in the light world. Mine are big.
TR intensifies. TR intensifies.
Yeah! I'm really starting to think that the game's gonna hand us a Samaria pretty soon and expect us to do TR.
Yeah, so we've got all of our TR keys now. Just need a cane and a fire rod to get us potentially in there with if Ether is the required medallion. Just bombs there on the floating island.
It feels good to do a tablet check like that when it's junk, because then you don't have to watch the little cutscene and you never have to come back.
You save the animation, couch cast, you see it and you forget it immediately. Hey, there's a flute.
Yeah, so now Meyer becomes a possibility. Again, we don't have Samaria, but we can do the rest of it.
Yeah. I mean, the one Meyer Small we got is out of logic, but that doesn't mean there can't be value in there.
Where was the out of logic Meyer Small?
That was in Zelda Cell.
Oh, right. We'd need the sewer key to put it in.
Yeah. Also, we should note that this is a pendant Hera, so we now have a second pendant known. We know this is either the red or the blue one, because we have gotten the information that Pod is our green pendant today.
But either way, we need to beat it. It hasn't given us anything, but it will be one dungeon down. And this is when we're thankful for the hammer saving us having to do an MG strats.
And just go ahead and bookmark it in about an hour, 15 minutes. We'll have a good laugh when we pull the Hera Big out of GT when we're looking for some other thing for our mode. Yeah, first dungeon completion there at about 33 minutes. Now we'll see Got at least 7 more checks available to us here with Spiral Cave and the 6 Dark Death Mountain checks. I don't have a way to do Spike Cave yet.
No, we don't even have a way to cheese Spike Cave yet.
No, we don't.
But yeah, I wonder, like, without the mirror, do you do TR portal to see if you can open it?
I think if you had the cane in hand, yes. Without it, no.
And then when the cane shows up in Super Bunny Cave,
yeah, then you'll feel a little bad. But you're between the fact that you don't have a cane, so you need to get one of those 6 checks, and you're banking on the 1 in 3 shot that it's ether. I don't think it's worth the extra running.
and if you do get the cane, well, then Myers also a perfectly palatable option.
Right. Because you don't, you'd love to give a little time for Hook or for Fire Rod to show up before you get in there. Unless Fire Rod's NTR, in which case the seat's bad.
I mean, with what the seat's already made us do for running around.
There's another
Pod small. If we get a pod big, we can basically clear the place out.
Yeah.
I say basically because if you actually wanted to clear the place out, you'd need to not open the middle door. That's annoying route.
I don't think anybody's doing that in the round of 16, honestly.
I am shocked.
Yes, you save 1 key, but boy, you pay for it in time.
I'm shocked to see Ether. And there's Samaria! What do you know?
Well.
And a shovel. And TwoC is doing the TR portal, so he will be able to open it, and with that Samaria, he will be able to go in.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll see how far he chooses to go in Turtle Rock. I don't know, you don't have a mirror for Laser Bridge, and of course you don't have a Fire Rod for either the 2 roller room checks or for Trinex at the end. But we'll see. Again, we have 4 small keys, we have the lamp, we have the big key, and now we have the cane. So, we've got everything to put all the other checks in there in logic. You never know if there's just something like a mirror or something else valuable that's lurking on Laser Bridge.
Yeah, we do kind of wonder where that mirror is, because it would be nice to combo Meyer and Lanmos.
Of course, it opens up 1 dungeon for us, although we're still flippers away from that.
But looks like Maniacal's gonna do probably... No, not Skullwoods. He's just going for Purple Chest.
Yeah, it looks like it. I think he's going to probably take Purple Chest down and then just flute straight from there into maybe Meyer area.
Yeah, I guess now that you have the flute and can just flute it to 7, it's not too bad. Oh, and he never did hammer pegs.
Well, that's another good reason.
Though if you're doing these kind of one-off checks, you probably want to check Shovel too.
Yeah, you might try and save Shovel for like if you can do K45 with it, but at this point they're both gonna be a little bit out of the way, I think. Great, 10 arrows there in the compass chest of TR.
Oh!
So that's a big piece of information right there for Maniacal.
Wow.
Fire Rod on the purple chest turn-in. So now he has...
So he's gonna rush Moth, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to head straight for Mothula here. But yeah, he has the option now to go back and do a 12 out of 12 TR whenever he wants to. Whereas 2C, we're going to see how far he goes here. But
wait, where did 2C get what was his third TR small? That was in Skullwoods, right?
I think so, yes. Yeah, I think that was in the left side of the front.
Okay, so when Maniacal does the front, he will get the... Well, other than the lack of a small key, so he'll need to use drop-downs.
Yeah. There's the bottle that 2C has as well. So we do now have the Sick Kid in Logic. Nice Ether Hammer combo there for 2C getting the Pokey down. A very logical Hyrule Castle map.
We're gonna see Fire Rod and Hammer Strats on Moth, it looks like.
Yeah, that's what I would expect here. Hammer Moth is a little tricky, of course. Hammer has its own kind of unique perceptions on what a hitbox should be, but it's a little bit of practice, and I know both of our runners here in the top 16 have some excellent execution. I think they're both, well equipped for a fight like this at this point.
Moth is also one of the few Dark World bosses that can be damaged with Fighter Sword slashes, so you could just do 16 slashes with the Fighter Sword.
Yeah. And even the spins count double for him, which is not guaranteed on all bosses and enemies in this game, but makes quick work of him there with the hammer. Just 20 rupees, but it is a second dungeon down for Maniacal here.
Have we found anything of use in TR yet?
Nothing that I have seen, no. I will note that, yeah, this is going to be the end of 2C's route here at Laser Bridge, so unless he finds something of value here, this is going to be a bit of a time sink that he'll have to recommit to coming through the dungeon here later. Also means kind of orphaning that Mimic Cave chest.
Yeah, though Maniacal may well have to orphan Mimic Cave chest as well, because, as we said, he's going to know that he has a full clearable TR available.
Yeah, I think it's very possible he ends up here sooner than later, but it still could be one of those things that, like, when you're coming back here with the Fire Rod in hand, you're gonna have the 2 checks in the front and the boss to kill. You may not be motivated to go all the way back outside and do that one kind of long, slow check there.
Second GT small, half magic. Yeah, nothing doing in TR. So, either the answer's on the Firelocked side or on Trinex, or else the seed just wants us to go be able to do Pyramid very sooner.
Really wanted us to just be not worrying about Turtle Rock small keys.
2C's gonna feel really bad right about now.
Got a big key dug up for Swamp Palace.
Oh, sorry.
Big spot.
Right, it's purple chest that he will make him feel bad.
That was our first time seeing that check.
Yeah, and we're still flippers and mirror away from thinking about Swamp.
Right. All right, Maniacal, where are you heading? Start at Link's house, so we're gonna see probably a flute to somewhere here. Maybe this. Oh no, he's gonna
Shovel.
Oh yeah, he's doing shovel here. Okay. Yeah, then we'll see where he goes. I still could see him, doing Mire Shed here, and if Mire's openable, again, that's another dungeon you can full clear. Probably goes and does that, I would think.
And Maniacal hasn't checked Sick Kid, but it's nothing.
Yeah. So it looks like he is headed straight there as well.
TwoC gonna buy some goo. I wonder if he's off to Meyer now.
Yeah, that gives him, that could be for, a safety for him, or it could just be a, hey, maybe later I want to cheese Spike Cave or something like that play for him. But it's like Maniacal doing the exact same thing here.
We've got a lot of dungeons we can beat, even if some of them are out of logic. Like we can beat Ice out of logic.
Yeah, that is an option as well for these runners. It's just a quick and easy fake flipper at the screen transition there if you want to go into Ice Palace. You've even got the big key.
I'm thinking we need the Thieves Big, we need the Flippers and Mirror. We might need a medallion for Meyer, we don't actually know. We need the Eastern Big, Pod Big, and 2 CT Smalls.
2C not peek the Big Meyer? Someone's saying Bombos in the chat, so...
Oh, did someone peek Meyer?
Well, 2C just did Meyer's Shed, so...
Oh, okay, so I guess he must have peeked it in its Bombos. Okay,
yeah,
guess we need Bombos then. 2C going for Pod.
Yeah, I think, in his case, of course, he still doesn't know about that Fire Rod, so he's going to try and, again, he's kind of committing to that play he made earlier of skipping the front four of Thieves Town and just saying, all right, well, I've already... gone through a full TR for basically nothing.
Yeah, like if the mirror's in TR, that's really bad for 2C.
Yeah, but yeah, he's thinking, let's go digging. This is still 11 items he can get here in Pod, potentially 12 with a save scum. So. You never know if you stumble into a Pod Big here, that's great. You clear it, but you're really hoping for a mirror or something else that's going to give you a leg up on someone who's sticking, who... And he's really, at this point, hoping that there's nothing in the front four of Thieves, which we know there isn't.
Right, he still never did that, did he?
Nope, and with him having already done Skull Woods...
As long as he's not waiting for the Thieves Small to do Thieves once he gets the Thieves Big.
That is a fair point, although I think at that point he may run out of options before he gets that decision to make. But probably odds are we see him pick up Thieves Town when he goes back for Purple Chest as well.
So that was the Eastern Big in TR behind Fire Rod, so... That gives Maniacal another dungeon he can finish.
Yeah, and that's actually a little bit of a... Now if we find a mirror in here, that's a little bit more of an up for Maniacal than 2C, because he'll just be able to immediately clear Eastern Palace while he's here.
Well, he's got the flute, so even without the mirror, he can just flute to 5, finish Eastern, and then flute back to 5 and do Pod.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world by any stretch, but it is, it's still a little bit of extra time spent running to the dungeon and cuts into a little bit of any advantage that you would get from finding the mirror here if you're 2C.
Yeah, but I have to think something's on Trinex.
Seems very possible.
The Siege sure conveniently gave us everything to full clear TR.
Yeah, we did get the whole, like, even from the very, very front of this thing, we got kind of hit with TR small keys in the face, and then, yeah, just a little bit of everything showed up there, and then the nice pull for Maniacal of the Fire Rod there, but got flippers in the back of Pod for 2C.
And we still haven't checked Hobo.
There's a Thieves Big, so that's good for 2C. That's
okay.
gonna give him a little bit of that time back of, putting off Thieves Town, and presumably once he has the big key, he'll go there. You hope he doesn't put it off forever waiting for a small key, but it's by far his densest place.
And that does give us knowledge for Pyramid Fairy.
Given that he's still at 9 hearts, I don't think we'll see a death warp back to the front to scum the key here. I think this is going to be the end of his route, one way or another. Nothing else there in the back. We did get a Thieves Big, and we did get the Flippers. Like you said, the only thing that Flippers really brings into logic now is Hobo, and Ice Palace, actually.
Well, was the Thieves Big in Harmless Hellway or Rupee Basement?
It was in the basement.
Okay. So, only logically behind the 4 pod smalls that we've found.
Yeah. TwoC going to give us a new check here as Maniacal makes his way towards Laser Bridge and then on to Trinex.
Given the loadout Maniacal's gonna be fighting Trinex with, I'm sure he will not be unhappy to get half magic on Laser Bridge.
Yeah, hopefully with Hammer it goes smoothly enough for him, but still can be... If you get off with it, then it can get real hairy real quick, because the Fighter Sword isn't doing diddly against Mr. Trinex.
I wonder if after Thieves, TwoC will do Purple Chest and get the Fire Rod.
Yeah, I think pretty good likelihood that he does Thieves into Purple Chest here and kind of... So he doesn't have anywhere else to go after this unless we... Again, if we find Mirror or Cape here, he could take it north, but I think Purple Chest is high likelihood for him to grab here after Thieves.
And hello, Menu Boss.
Yep. Lots of pause in action here. It looks like he's got this one well under control right now. Just needs, I think, one more hit on the ice head.
Now, there's TwoC's Thieves Small, so now he knows he can just do the back without having to skip anything.
Yep. Maniacal cleans up phase 2 there on Trinex. And what do we have here for our troubles? A small key to Skullwoods. Well, we know that doesn't put a whole lot into perspective for us right now, so maybe it is that, our Pyramid Fairy check that has something big for us, or maybe, just maybe, game just decided to stick all the Turtle Rock stuff in front and then put absolute trash in the dungeon itself.
Yeah. So it seems like Maniacal's best play now is Pod Eastern.
Yeah, I think we'll see him probably go Eastern first here. Well, he's going to do his first
Scout
check.
Meyer, sure.
Yeah.
Discover you can't get in, get 2 items out of Meyer Shed.
Yeah. It was TwoC that checked whether who checked the big bomb. Maniacal does not have that information right now, although could potentially stumble across it if he's paying attention when he pauses at some point later on. So yeah, Maniacal going to finish off Eastern Palace here first. And there's our pod big, so double dip a pod required.
Yikes.
Not that that's unexpected in AD keys, but that you'll be making more than one trip. And there's the mirror in the big chest, so...
So, you have to
Pod
go into
lead
pod
to
without the mirror, too.
Yep.
Though that also means that when 2C eventually goes back to TR, he will be able to do Mimic Cave.
Yeah, so that'll be a real big check for him, because that's one that Maniacal is not going to get back to anytime soon.
Yeah, that's probably a last location.
Right. That's a like you win lotto ticket for 2C that he won't necessarily know about, but you know, not a guaranteed win. Obviously, there's a lot that can happen, but you know, if 2C pulls something important there, high likelihood Maniacal's going to be last locating it.
Well, that is 2C's second dungeon down.
So we're even at 2 for the moment, although Maniacal is fast on his way to checking off dungeon number 3 here.
But yeah, it does also make Purple Check's chest a whole lot nicer.
Yeah, and he is heading towards that right now. Probably going to pick up K45 with it as well, I'd imagine.
And check Bombos.
Yeah. Some more new checks for us coming up here on 2C sides, as we're going to see our first look at the Armos Knights of Eastern Palace on Maniacals.
So that is dungeon number 4 for Maniacal.
Yeah, that getting TR done there early on, correcting what I said earlier about them being tied on crystals or tied on dungeons. Yeah, it was, you know, that's pretty big for him there in terms of, you know, efficiency, but still a lot of seed to be played. And of course, 2C having the advantage there, being well ahead to that mirror.
Yeah, chat remarking that 2C now has everything he needs for Swamp, so he may just go right over there after checking Bombos.
Oh yeah, that is a very good point. So yeah, maybe Bombos tablet straight into Swamp. And got the big key, everything you want for it.
And technically you're a small key short of having a full clear of Ice and Logic, but you could still do it without the small key.
Yeah. You would like it, if only because it really makes checking Ice Tea a whole lot nicer if you have to do it. But at the same time, it is another clearable dungeon.
Of course, Ice-T is in Logic without that small key.
Right, but it's just a pain. It's just a pain to get to, especially with the Icebreaker route that we've got.
Yeah, of course, Swamp has 10 items, so maybe there's a nice small one here.
So yeah, I mean, chat's asking us what's the most important thing going on right now. I think maybe we can just kind of do a little bit of a recap here. The biggest points of divergence so far. 2C was first into the Dark World earlier on, because by virtue of having gotten the double dip of desert that was required for a mushroom turn-in back to the big chest for our Moon Pearl, was something he got to first. But since then, Maniacal found the Fire Rod before he made his first trip into Turtle Rock, so he got to do all of the items there, except for Mimic Cave. 2C will have to make another trip back up to TR at some point to go through there, but, you know, Mimic Cave, if he chooses to check that, if it has an item of some importance, that'll be a good spot for him. Right now, what we're looking for as far as go mode items, we have not seen either of our Castle Tower small keys. We need a Bombos to get into Mire, and I think that's about it, actually.
Yeah, as long as we don't need to do right side desert.
Yeah, I mean, there's any number of different checks that we could, you know, need an extra item to check something else. But in terms of what we're strictly looking for, it's, I think, just those 3. And 2 Castle Tower small keys. We talked about it right at the start.
Yeah, that can be literally anywhere in the game except on Lumberjack. Already checked anyway. Chat asking if 2C got a CT small. I didn't notice one, but that's not to say it didn't happen.
I did not see what was in the first chest.
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't
and
feel
2C
that
does
the
have the
second-
pod big. He got that out of Thieves. Oh, chat's saying he got the sewers key, which puts that Meyer small in logic.
Gotcha. Nothing there on the left side of Swamp Palace for us today.
Interesting play by Maniacal. He just spent all of his pod smalls.
Yeah,
So-
that's a little surprising. So he's going to need not just the pod big, but he's also going to be searching for one of the 2 remaining pod smalls to be able to clear pod later on. That's a little bit of a gamble, kind of potentially adding an item to your go mode checklist. But
And pod is a pendant, so those 2 smalls could both be in GT.
yeah, that makes that play a little bit more aggressive than I think I'm comfortable with. Just the fact that, yeah, those last 2 small keys could be lurking pretty much anywhere in the game as well. But we'll see. You know, it could just be that they're right on the path somewhere.
Yeah,
It's never a
I
start.
have to imagine with that Thieves big, that'll be his next play, and then he'll get the mirror.
And the pod big. And hey, there was that Ice Palace small you talked about earlier.
Okay, there we go. Now Ice fully in logic.
So would not be surprised if that's 2C's next stop. And speaking of Ice Palace, gets a mail upgrade there in the Waterfalls chest.
Wait a minute. Did we get a Skullwood small on... What was the small key we got on Pod Big Key Chest?
I don't know about Pod Big Key Chest. The Harmless Hellway was the Skullwood small.
Okay, so then the Pod Smalls can't be in GT because Skullwood was a crystal.
Okay, that's a good point. Speaking of go mode, we forgot one other important thing that we're going to need for that, and that is a second sword.
Would be nice to turn up.
Yeah, I think, it kind of got reminded of that, seeing that the fighter sword Argus fight there. Just like, we really would like a little bit more oomph behind what we got going on here right now.
Always fun to see in the credits when you have like an ungodly number of boss fights done under fighter sword.
Right. Say we're over an hour in. We've done a lot of checks, and there's a little. It's not the rarest event that we haven't had more than one sword show up, but you'd sure like a second one, especially by the time you're getting the cold stare here.
And ice is also a crystal we're seeing, so... What are our possibilities? So Mire or
Iron
Desert needs to be our third pendant?
Yep. Which, we're going to see both of those done together anyway, so...
Speaking of Desert, there's that
Yep.
small key. I don't know, could be something awful like Bombos is in Desert.
That would be... Wouldn't be, I think, the first thing our runners get to, but... Yeah, that is an option. Nice on-script fight there from Maniacal. Gonna be his 5th dungeon taken care of. Second bottle with another blue potion in it for 2C, but doesn't look like we found anything of major importance here in Ice Palace either. Of course, there's, like we said, not that much that we're looking for at this point.
I mean, the Desert Small could be something.
Yeah, that's the only kind of noteworthy item, I would say. Obviously, it puts Land Molus in logic as well. Fortunately, no sword upgrade, at least so far here, but you still got Fire Rod, you got half magic, you just got another blue potion that you could probably feel free to spend. I think you'll be fine here with just a well-timed spin or two, a well-timed spin and, some good Fire Rod aim.
And on the one hand, Maniacal's following 2C's footsteps. On the other hand, he's up 3 bosses, even though he's 2 bosses behind 2C of what he's following.
Yeah, he's going to be on the same route here as 2C, but he does have that, I think, the biggest advantage, of course, being that the single dip of TR. It's going to be a lot of time that he makes up. Sure enough, this dungeon was Samaria locked today. I feel like that happens way too often, where that Ice Palace Small ends up there.
In Key Sanity, that's kind of unusual, I think. Yeah. Maybe not.
Where is 2C heading next? I was gonna say he hasn't done Back of Skull Woods yet, so that's probably his next check.
I imagine Maniacal will also do Left Side Swamp here. Too many items away from go.
Yeah, I would think you're full clearing here on both sides.
Especially since Maniacal needs to dig up another pod small somewhere.
Yeah, that's also true. You wouldn't. I wouldn't think you'd be itching to skip in logic checks like this, but we'll see. Now he is going over here, so yeah, it'll be a 10 out of 10 for him here as well.
Now, chat remarking that we will probably see a ped check from 2C after Skull Woods.
Yeah, him coming over here with the mirror, that will be available to him after he finishes off his moth fight. See, that could explain why all of our pod keys were accessible outside of GT if we have something important on pedestal. Yeah, so we're still lacking that information on whether Desert and Mire is the last pendant that we're looking for, and which one is the last crystal. At some point, I think if you have the knowledge, if you're looking for that knowledge, I think you maybe get over and do Desert, prioritize Desert even a little more highly than you would otherwise, just to get that information and know, like, okay, well, I could be looking for a Bombos in GT somewhere.
Moth fight's getting away from 2C a bit.
Yeah, he's chosen to go Fire Rod first, though, so...
Also, 14 hearts gives you a bit of a buffer.
Yeah, and Red Mail. Yeah, he could do whatever he wanted there, pretty much.
Well, the spikes take away 1 heart regardless of mail.
Right, but Mothula goes from doing 2 hearts down to half, so
Right.
you can definitely be a little bit more aggressive. Nope, more couch cash on the pedestal. Yeah, it does look like it's going to be Desert Palace and probably the Checkerboard Cave check here as well for 2C. It looks like he's also going to show us the 2 items on right side here first, based on where he's mirroring.
Maybe Bombos is here.
Yeah, it could be under the other doormat, you know?
Maniacal's having a bit of trouble with this Argus fight.
Yeah, it can be, you know, ideally you want to be getting at least 2 of the puffs for every spin that you release here with Fighter Sword, but if your spacing gets off, if your timing gets off, if you end up poking the sword and negating a spin, or if you end up releasing it just a little too early, those can all kind of throw things off for you, and looks like that's what happened here. There's probably going to be an extra cycle out of this fight at least for him compared to 2C's pretty clean fight.
Yeah, he's just doing one at a time. We should also note that 2C found Burna in Desert, which does put Spike Cave in logic, though we also have enough health to cheese it anyway.
And the other thing to note is that Desert, as we see up there on his screen, is our 3rd pendant.
Ah.
We will find Bombos before we get into GT. However, we're still looking for those 2 Castle Tower small keys. Those could require us going through Ganon's Tower or just be anywhere else in the game.
Maniacal seeing that Ice is a crystal. Probably gonna flute to 8 and do it. And sees the Desert as his 3rd pendant. Though he still doesn't have 5-6 knowledge.
Correct.
At the same time, he'll have done so many crystals, he'll probably, after Ice, he'll probably think odds are he's got 5-6.
And at some point here, he could get a quick menu in and just glance over there if he's alert to that as well.
So that is dungeon number 6 for 2C. We are even on the dungeon count.
Although we've got a very different set of them on both sides.
And Checkerboard is just vanilla today.
2C heading up the mountain here. I gotta think this is gonna be his Turtle Rock clear, and then probably heading back across to Spike Cave.
And that'll give him Eastern as well, which he can of course combo with finishing Pod.
Correct.
So then he'll just need Bombos and 2 CT smalls.
Right. The other thing that he could do up here, we'll see what We'll see what the situation is after he does TR. We do have that Hera small key that we picked up in Pod. That could be locking anything.
True. All we know about Bombos is it's not in GT and it's not in Meyer.
right, so we got both runners crossing over dungeons that we've seen from the other side here. TwoC about to get his Eastern Palace big key. Maniacal about to get his Ice Palace small off a cold stare, which I'm sure he'll really appreciate.
And while that's happening, why don't you give them each a follow?
Yeah, definitely. Both these guys, mainstay, longtime members of this community, both excellent runners.
Amazingly, this is Maniacal's first time in main tournament brackets. He's been in groups plenty of times, but never made brackets before.
Wow. TwoC, I think he had a pretty good run in last year's tournament.
Yeah, he was third.
Yep. So, both excellent runners, though.
Yeah, I think this is 2C's fourth tournament in a row making brackets.
Can't say I'm surprised. But will 2C head outside and check Mimic Cave here? Let's see. Yeah, he is heading out. I think he knows with where that Samaria was, that there's at least a chance that that his opponent did mirrorless purple chest and got that fire rod. So he should be aware at least of the possibility that his opponent may have already been in here without the mirror. But just 10 arrows there, so no big swing there. Like I said, I don't expect Maniacal to get back to that chest under just about any circumstances. Maybe after he clears out a GT basement or something like that. But even then, I think that's probably not at the top of the ticket there.
So, Maniacal... Oh, he hasn't checked Hobo yet, right? I'm just wondering if his next play is Desert. He still hasn't checked Pyramid Ledge, so he could do Pyramid Fairy for 3 checks.
That is true. Yeah, he could end up taking that up into Catfish, and who knows if we find a cape or a second sword after 76 minutes of playing. Maybe we could even peek our head in and seeing the first check of Castle Tower. Imagining having access to every dungeon
That's so
for
crazy.
Castle Tower.
Not only do we have no smalls, we can't even get in.
Right. Yeah, other than Maiar, we can get into every dungeon right now except for GT, and even, since we get Maiar, we get GT, but we still may not have Castle Tower access yet at that point. Not how Miyamoto intended it.
You mean he didn't intend you to fight Aga 2 before Aga 1?
No, I don't think so.
Does do very weird things for the narrative when you see Ganon break out of Aga 2 and then you go and fight Aga 1.
Yeah, we're not really playing this thing for the plot. It's random. unless you end up talking to the pink blob up on the mountain, you're really not getting a whole lot of story out of this.
But his song.
It was his song. You always get that guy when you're on Restream, Just speaking from experience.
I haven't actually seen anyone do it in a while.
Well, maybe we'll get blessed with it when 2C goes over to Spike Cave somehow.
Oh, right. I was thinking, is anyone even going to go in that direction? I guess.
No, I don't think you would end up. I mean, I guess at some point you could be going up to Hera, but that's not from where he's coming. All right, so are we going to get Spike Cave from 2C here? Yeah. Yep, we're heading over. I guess the question is, are we going to see Hera Basement on the way? That is, of course, much more of a time commitment. Nope, we're hopping straight off. It is a small key to pod. Okay, so we're one key closer to full logic there, putting the big chest and the boss into logic for us.
And Maniacal's going to need either that or to find where the last pod small is.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was about to say as well, is that, you know, Maniacal's either going to need to find that last pod small key that we've got out there, or he's going to need to get to Spike Cave at some point, which is a little bit isolated for him, but, you know, we've got Flute, we got Mountain Save and Quit, so it's accessible, but it's as accessible as it always is, you know. I think
we haven't seen.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, we haven't seen Graveyard Ledge from either runner yet, have we?
No, we haven't seen anyone get to Graveyard Ledge. Looks like Maniacal probably about to give us our first look at Pyramid Fairy here. And we have not seen Hera Basement. I think those are our options now for our next logical progression. TwoC gonna head back here, get the Harmless Hellway chest, get his Skullwood small key here, and then give us our first look at the big chest.
Yet another bottle.
It's number 3 out of the big chest there. And what do we have today in Pyramid Fairy? Oh, that's a Bombos medallion. Sure enough, C did want us to get here after all, and that gives him a clearable mire, gives him full access into GT at this point.
Now, with only one mire small, I think you skip cutscene.
I would think so as well. But
because for all we know, the other 2 mire smalls are both in GT.
Right, but, you know, for all Maniacal knows, that's where his 2 pod smalls are, too, that he knows that are left in the seed. Actually, no, because he has the Harmless Hellway logic that we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If he's following logic, he knows that pod smalls aren't in GT.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, once again, CT smalls can be absolutely anywhere except on Lumberjack, and we haven't seen either of them, so I suppose if you feel like you need to do everything looking for a CT small, you could do Mire cutscene. Interesting. Maniacal doing the big chest. It hasn't even hit the switch.
It's a little bit of a surprising route there. I would think you would at least go left side, get compass and lobby chest, and then work your way through from. With only one small key, you would need to. You can't have one going to map chest. Okay, he's not even going to left side at all here.
Yeah, so. You have the small key. I would think you'd want to hit the switch. I don't know.
Maybe he is just straight up in GT mode at this point, or like doing convenient checks on the way to GT. There's a cape that puts bumper ledge, which we have not seen, and the first chest of Castle Tower into logic for us.
Yeah, the thing is, again, if Maniacal's been following logic, he knows that the pod smalls can't be in GT, and he knows he needs a pod small.
Yeah. And well, TwoC finishing up his Helmasaur fight. That is dungeon number 8 for him.
And sword.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and this is going to be dungeon number 9 for him, as well as dungeon number 9 here for Maniacal and Meyer.
Yeah, so 2C needs to do Pyramid Fairy. Maniacal needs to do either Spike Cave or Find the Last Pod Small.
And then both of our runners need to find 2 Castle Tower small keys.
Which are probably sitting in GT Basement, because statistically at this point that's the most likely thing.
Yeah, it's certainly the densest place we've got left, and yeah, with Maniacal doing this right side only route here through Meyer, I think he is planning on doing a full search of the basement there as quickly as he can. Throwing bombs today to get the eyes whittled down a little bit. And we're gonna pull the bow out. Try and save 8 arrows there for the end. And taking advantage of that safe space there on the right side of the room. Do not take the damage from the goop on the floor. It looks like he's going to have just enough arrows to finish off this vitreous fight.
Oh!
Okay. Well,
First CT small.
one of them right on the path. Where is number 2?
Could be in CT. I mean, do you do CT hoping for those 2?
Not before GT.
Checks.
No way. You're definitely up to GT now. But Maniacal, like we said, that pod small key is gonna potentially play into things here. Like you said, he should have the logical knowledge that it is outside of GT, but it is possible that that's something you overlook.
Here's our green pendant turn in for another sword.
Okay, so helmets are gating 2 swords directly. If Maniacal gets over to pod and go mode, he probably never gets that sword, so that's something that could be relevant later, especially if we don't find our 4th sword in the seed. And 2C, our first runner to actually check the bomb shop earlier, is going to now do his Pyramid Fairy entrance.
Which will put him in GT mode.
See what kind of route he does through Meyer. If he opens more items, I can't imagine less, but...
Yeah, but... I mean, depending where the second CT small is, it is entirely possible that this match will swing on Maniacal using up all of his pod smalls.
It is looking much more likely, because Maniacal is going to have to do extra checks outside of GT.
I mean, Spike Cave is right there.
Yeah, but you can't get back to GT from it.
True.
Oh, and 2C is gonna, with his swords in hand, is gonna give us our first look inside of Castle Tower.
Though he doesn't have any smalls, so it'll just be this one check.
Right.
It's entirely possible that Maniacal winds up on Master Sword Silverless.
I think that's one you probably check, especially if, there's a reasonable chance that he gets out of here still looking for a pod small. Those Castle Tower checks could be, both of them could be in logic outside of GT, so I think he probably opens them if he's still looking for anything. I think even if he's on Master Sword Silverless, I think he's probably opening at least that first chest. So we know he he will at some point get a Master Sword off of Helmasaur. He, of course, doesn't know
Right.
that. He thinks that he may be thinking that the swords are all in GT as well. So, some Meyer small key, a big key to Skull Woods. Boy.
Yeesh.
And
There's
there's the Castle
CT2.
Tower, too. Okay.
Okay, so now this starts getting bad for Maniacal.
Yeah, anything else he does in GT is extra checks that 2C is unlikely to do.
And he should also... But this also means that he must not have tracked the logic to know that the pod smalls can't be in GT.
This could be a play just to maybe to DM room if he's looking for a sword and or silvers. I think that would be a not unreasonable check. But if he goes all the way to Ice Armos, then yeah, I think he missed that step in the logic there.
So, chat asking about pod smalls in GT. There was a Skullwood small in Harmless Hellway. So it's behind all 6 pod smalls logically, and Skullwoods is a crystal. So, I don't know. It's looking like Maniacal just has not tracked the logic.
I still think that searching for a sword here is perfectly reasonable if that is what he's doing. So, you know, kind of give benefit of the doubt to the runners. They're weighing a lot of different decisions in their mind as they're playing.
But yeah, 2C is going to be in go mode as soon as he gets to GT Compass Room.
Which, given that he'll be in there on 2 keys, almost 100% chance he goes right side first. Yeah, 2C actually doing 1 check less than the Maniacal there. He did not open the big chest.
Oh, there's Hera Big sitting in GT. Funny joke game.
We've gotten, between that and the Meyer Smalls and the Skull Woods Big all showing up there, we've got some of those real gross places outside of GT now in Logic. If we see Maniacal checking those, then we know that he is off the track or off the scent on the pod hunt.
And maybe he does turn up a sword here. He turns up the bug net.
Which is like a sword, but not.
I don't know, I feel like the last pod small is quite possibly in Meyer. We never did see lobby chest or map chest, right?
Right. Either way, pretty much all of that advantage Maniacal had built up, getting here into GT first is going to be pretty much swept away by doing a full clear of the left side of the basement here without getting any payoff except for a Hera Big that we hopefully will never ever actually see.
Yeah, and I guess we'll have to ask what the deal was with his pod routing.
I think it was definitely an aggressive play. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be, at least, you know, if it's the cause of why he didn't get back to pod at the same time that 2C did before getting up here, you know, that's going to be kind of a big wound in terms of time given up on this seed.
Chat also commenting that, you know, 2C is going to be doing this climb on Tempered Sword. Maniacal is going to be doing this climb on Fighter Sword.
Fighter Sword climb is not fun.
No, especially in the gauntlet here.
Yeah, this is where it's easily the worst. And he's only on 6 arrows as well, or now 5, so... Alright, it changed twice while I was just trying to say what number it was. Okay. Does have the does have ether out, though. Gonna make good use of that. That's always nice when you're in an under-leveled climb situation. And then Bombos for this room, because ether would just freeze these guys. Meanwhile, 2C, one chest away from hitting his go mode.
Well, good thing we have this blue goo.
Yeah, 2C gonna at least have silver arrows for this fight, which...
Yeah, not that 2C has many arrows either.
no, that is true, but you do get the refill here, at least.
Yeah. No ether bombo strats for 2C through the gauntlet there. Just a nice comfy tempered sword climb. There's a nice GT small key. GT small, why not?
Yeah. Hey, there is a sword for Maniacal, so he will finish on tempered.
Also gives him the ability to reasonably do sword spins on Moldor,
Yes.
because the same damage as Hammer.
And one last 300 rupees for the road, after all the ones we got at the start. But yeah, now the, we can see the clock is really ticking for Maniacal here. I think he's pretty much already drawing dead at this point, but he's gonna have to get, he'd have to get that pod small key ASAP here, coming out of GT. 2C meanwhile just gonna mirror straight into Castle Tower and then have his Ganon fight.
Was the first cycle a triple? Because I couldn't tell if two were too close together to count.
I think it was a triple. We'll find out, I guess, if the first one finishes him off here. Yep.
Okay. So 3-1-1-1.
Yeah. Meanwhile, 2C not far behind here, but a lot less to do.
Missed his butter sword.
Did skip Butter Sword. I don't think he will particularly lose much time because of that.
Okay, so Maniacal's got to do Castle Tower now, right?
Yeah, I think he'll certainly do the 2 checks here. So he should get silvers.
But yeah, I mean, who knows where the 6th pod small is? Who knows if he would have found it in time if he hadn't been scouring GT basement. But
this could have been a very interesting finish there without that decision to open the extra door on the first trip in. It's a gamble you make, and you kind of hope that the keys will come together for you, but sometimes they just don't. And wherever those last 2 keys are, they're somewhere pretty stinky in terms of the options that we have left.
well, we know one of them's in Spike Cave.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And then wherever the other one is potentially in Mire, potentially Hera Basement, potentially Graveyard Ledge or Bumper Ledge. You know, all around not amazing choices to be in a late game hunt for something, for a go mode item that you could have avoided.
But this is also an illustration in why it's fine to break logic, but then you need to track logic.
And again, I think there's a very reasonable chance that Maniacal did have the logical knowledge there on seeing that skull with Smolky. I think that was, again, that was by far his densest choice to look for a second sword. So,
Yeah, I mean, I can see going as far as Rando Room. Ice Armos is a bit more questionable if you're just looking for a sword.
Yeah, it is, but again, where would he go next?
Right.
I mean, there's not really a big appealing option. We had to kind of clear through most of the game to find our bombos to begin with.
And of course, if there was a CT small on the glide path, like in Desert or something, this race looks very different.
Exactly.
No, sorry, I meant a pod small.
Right, yeah.
But yes, unless something really strange happens, TwoC will be our first quarter finalist of this tournament.
It definitely looks like we were heading that way. Both of them going to have the same Aga fights here.
Is that 4 blue balls already?
Not been counting, but I'm sure Chad is.
Yeah, that was 4. And Maniacal's still looking for the pod small, and TwoC is going to be in the Ganon fight within a minute. Oh, Magic Bat, which, again, we know it can't be. So he must have lost track of logic, because Powder was in GT.
Okay.
Sorry, we can't give you TwoC's audio. Unfortunately, he's using an MSU that triggers copyright strikes on YouTube.
Well, through the first phase there in one cycle. Looks like he is well on his way to getting the second cycle down in one phase.
Yeah, at this level of play, you kind of expect that runners can do the 1-in-1.
I'm going to say most of the top 16 pretty comfy with a Tempered Sword Ganon fight, getting the 2-1 cycles there, and TwoC obviously excellent execution throughout this whole race.
We find out Ganon's one true weakness. Oh, nice double before the lights even go out.
Gonna need one more hit down here at the bottom. We'll do it. GG's in chat for 2C. Gonna win this race, advance to the round of 8.
So 2C finishes with an official race time of 1:43.12. Oh, there was Quake on Bumper Ledge.
Yep.
And there's the forfeit from Maniacal.
So Maniacal, unfortunately, done in by those pod small keys. But we will...
Well, we are joined by 2C, who has his mic on mute at the moment, but GG.
Thank you. That was a very fun seed.
Yeah, and you had better management of pod small keys.
Yeah, we talked in the race room with Maniacal, and yeah, apparently the 6th pod small was buried big time. Probably like Hera basement, we were thinking, or something like that.
Yeah, we were kind of listing out the possibilities where that last pod small key could be. We're also joined here by Maniacal. GG's.
Hey, GG2C.
Hey, GG Maniacal.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was let you guys talk, kind of take us through your races, what you kind of the big things you saw from this seed, and kind of like decisions you made, anything like that you want to go on about.
I really enjoyed the early game. It's one of those very fun moments where the opening route that I do just like kind of pays off, and made like Trey a little bit proud.
I kind of predicted based off of how when you went after you went to Uncle and Hyrule Castle. I was like, I wonder if he's doing that the crazy Lost Woods to Zora route. And it actually worked out pretty well for you in large part because you got to go right to left to Agina's cave, or like from Mini Moldworm to Desert, and get that mushroom out of there on the first trip over to the desert area. So you were a little bit earlier into Dark World, both of you guys, with the silly double dip of desert, with no fire. You both last location that Moon Pearl, which no surprise. But then once we got into the Dark World, that was where things started to really diverge a bit. 2C, you made the decision to stay out of Thieves Town there for quite a while. That seemed to work out pretty well for you there with getting over to Pod first and finding the Thieves Big there.
Yeah, I mean, I've been delaying Pod for Thieves Town, sorry, for quite a lot of seeds in 80 keys in general. But honestly, it didn't really quite work out like the way I wanted, like the things to play out, because like I really enjoy rushing Pod. Like I had like the key from Eastern as well, so that I got like a Pod small, and I was like, okay, maybe I can rush Pod, but then I kept like finding stuff like hookshot and stuff, and that really postponed me getting to Pod, I guess, until like I think I dipped TR first before Pod, which is weird.
Yeah, I was going to come to that. So that was one of the other big differences in how this race was playing out there for quite a while was Maniacal, you got that early or relatively early fire rod off a purple chest. You probably had to feel pretty good going up to TR there, knowing you were going to get to single dip it, especially after seeing the Samaria pop up there in Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, I did have to reclimb the mountain because of no mirror at the time, and then it felt really bad because there was absolutely nothing in Skullwoods or in Turtle Rock, and I was doing them under-resourced. And my early route was really rough, just in terms of last locating the Pearl over in Desert and choosing against the one chest in Logic going back into Eastern, or not back, but into Eastern for the 3 checks, concerned that it might have been, like a desert small key or something chilling there, to accompany the big key. And And in hindsight, I think that's a terrible play. And so as soon as I was thinking about it, I was like, well, there's not really anything that comes into logic there, unless you also get the fire source and the small key. And so then I knew I'd really given up quite a lot of time through kind of a worst possible early route, and made an aggressive play into Thieves, lost time there. Decided when I was in pod with 4 that I would push the 6s because I still had about 70 checks outstanding, and it was very likely that one of the pod smalls was going to pop in GT. And so once I found Bombos at Pyramid Ferry, I felt like it was a reasonable line, and that I was going to find at least one of my remaining swords and my CT2 and a pod 5 in GT. And so that's why I was so thorough on the basement, as I was treating it as go -3. And it just like the seed decided that it was going to bury pod smalls in obtuse places elsewhere. And it feels really, really gross, I'll be honest. This is one of the most disappointing losses I think that I've taken in a game of this in a long, long time, and so I'm really not really pleased with how this one went. It kind of from wire to wire felt like just getting absolutely screwed by low percent outcomes, in terms of like just TR being largely devoid of things. Like I put it off with getting TR4, and then that was irrelevant, and just like kind of if it could have gone wrong, it did. I felt like screen to screen, I moved around fine, but a couple early decisions lending themselves into mid-game decisions just really buried this one in a way that is very dissatisfying, really. So, not very pleased.
And I understand that. I mean, anytime sometimes this just the luck doesn't pay off. Sometimes you make a gamble here or there, and sometimes the gamble bites you. I think the pod small key usage was obviously one here, but in another universe, there's CT. You get something important out of Harmless Hellway on the first go through there, and now that we know that we know the pod small keys are outside of GT somewhere, so we saw Spike K from 2C side, and we never saw the 6th one. I don't know if you did any combing of the seed after, but sounds like probably not.
No, I have no intent to figure out where the other one is.
Totally understandable. But yeah.
Well, we never saw like Meyer lobby chest or map chest from either of you. You both only did the stuff that was really on the route going through Meyer.
I did big chest, but sure.
Right.
I wasn't as aggressive as I could have been with Meyer, but it didn't seem right with. I mean, it's 4 checks, with only 1 small key, so 2 of which are out of logic, against all of GT as live outs.
Right.
Well,
we were
you're saying
curious because you guys, obviously, neither of you had any CT smalls at that point, so we weren't sure how much you were going to try to clear for being afraid of missing a CT small.
If I'd not gotten one in the 4 that I did, I'd probably go back in and do the other 4, just because I don't know. I actually felt really bad about it. I think I had decided that I was just going to gamble against, actually, and go to GT and hope that both were there. But it's because I felt so bad about my positioning in the seed based on how badly things had gone to that point.
I mean, apart from the pod small issue, things had been going pretty well for you.
Not really, but I mean,
you were ahead of 2C.
But I was down a pod small.
Right.
I did think about resetting pod and setting up a scum on the 6 keys. If it was dead, it would have resulted in a redip, and it would have ultimately lost me the race anyway. I did think about leaving Big Key Chest and then death warping in Dark Maze to scum that key, but opted against just because, again, like the way it routed, I'm looking at like a live 70 against like 8, and you have 2 live outs. I mean, it's like a 1 in it's less than a 2%er. To not find a pod small in that on just mean field. And so it's just so dumb. And then apparently 2 swords are locked behind that, which is just like, okay, well, what is this situation?
One was directly on Helmasaur, and then one immediately after on the green pennant turn in.
Yeah, so like, how am I ever winning that? Like, just absolute worst possible. And yeah, I mean, what do? You just die.
So TwoC, what were your thoughts as you're going into Mire and still don't have either of the CT smalls?
I was gonna clear GT basement for sure. I think not having like the Mire keys makes sense to like skip the left side, and at that point it's just like, whatever, I gamble like the rest of Mire.
So if Vidi hadn't given you a Mire small, you were just done with Mire regardless?
Yeah, I was completely done with Mire. In general, I felt like very good about the seed, but it seems like the fire rod was actually a bigger deal than I thought, I guess.
Yeah, that was Maniacal's big advantage for kind of the middle part, finding the fire rod much earlier.
Yeah, I was gonna say the fact that you got through the entirety of TR on your first trip meant that you had all that extra time spent in there versus Maniacal's single dip. Maniacal chose to open the portal at the bottom of the Dark Death Mountain there and got up there, saw his Samaria, saw he could get into TR, but put it off for a while, and then that ended up leading him to Purple Chest before doing any of that. And so yeah, that was kind of the big swing back after the kind of Moon Pearl fiasco at the beginning of the seed, in terms of how the time got distributed.
Gotcha. So yeah, I think like it felt good on my end. That's why I decided to just go GT at that point. I think like chances are at least one CT is gonna be in GT. So at that point I cleared the whole game as well. So after GT I was just gonna head back to Mire, I guess, to get a second CT small, if it was there. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Those were,
You guys have anything else you want to add on this one?
No, not really. Just GG TwoC. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
It was.
GG.
Thank you. It was a decent tournament for me. Although this was just not representative of what I like to put out there into the world, and so very disappointed in this particular game. But is what it is.
Head held high, man. You still made it to the Sweet 16 of this tournament. I'm not allowed to say that, but whatever.
Cease and desist.
Still made it to top 16. You gave TwoC, who's a hell of a runner, a hell of a fight, honestly. Both of the first 2 races were separated by seconds. So,
if I don't misroute my entrances at the end of Cross Hunt, I don't have to be playing this seed, and that's just. It was a slight optimization I missed. There were a few situations where I could have cut a little bit of time there and made race 2 go differently, but I didn't see them at the time because I'm just too bad at entrance still. I need to continue working on it, and this one it was kind of like the losses I took in groups where other than the AD keys loss to Leaf, it was just like these weird corner case, incredibly unlucky outcome type situations where just like low percent coupled with mistakes turned out to be kind of as bad as possible. So I like backed my way into brackets, kind of ass backwards, and gave myself a much harder path in the tournament than I reasonably should have had. Now everyone's quite good in brackets, and TwoC's an excellent runner, so this was always going to be a tough series. This one feels like I was, like playing against both the Chiefs and the refs instead of playing against just the Chiefs. Here with the seed also conspiring against me a little bit, but is what it is. That is rando, and we love it for its BS just as much as we hate it. So is what it is.
And TwoC, following up last year's great run through the tournament with another great run this year. You're on to the top 8. Got the winner of Dracaris and Gamachu coming up. So the scary names don't stop in this one, but congratulations to you as well, man.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you for the commentary, the restream, in general tracking. I hope everyone enjoyed this series because, as Maniacal mentioned, we had like 2 very great races, like game 1, game 2. Very unfortunate here in game 3 with like the Podesmon situation, but yeah, it was completely understandable, very reasonable play to make. But yeah, I'm looking forward to racing Maniacal in the future as well, because I'm sure we're gonna do ladder, we're gonna do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, GG's. Always a pleasure to get to race you, dude. Just so much respect for the game you play. Really quality opponent. Always fun to get to race. Wish I'd put up something a little more competitive in this one. It was just once the fire rod came up largely empty in Turtle Rock and in Skullwoods, other than completing dungeons, I felt like I was behind to probable mirror and like other items that would have been kind of high impact, and decided to gamble a little more in pod than I might otherwise, and it just kind of turned out as bad as it could have. But I do appreciate the restream, appreciate the commentary. Sorry if it wasn't as fun of a race as maybe the first 2 were.
No apologies needed, dude. Yeah, I do want to make sure we shout out our tracker Atoli, who was on top of things for us all night long. And if you haven't already and you're still listening, give these runners a follow. Both of them put on some great shows, and both of them excellent runners, and well worth a follow. So about it for us. Dross, you want to take us out of here?
Yeah. Well, we are continuing with the 3rd round, so we've got a couple of races tomorrow. Actually, we've got a straggler of a 2nd round race tomorrow at 10:10 p.m. I guess that's today now, depending, what time zone you're in. Killer App versus F. Coughlin, and at the same time we have a 3rd round match between Jesse and Ganon's Gone Wild, the reigning champion. So both of those should be great races. SpeedGaming 4 and SpeedGaming 2 respectively. So keep an eye on the schedule and make sure to tune into those.